So first of all, I will be discussing today about how the competition review process looks like, right? How the competition review process template is created, right?
Mhm.
And how it looks like and how you set up things, okay? What is the impact of the currency and the various merit plan, bonus plan, right? How the scorecard that we are here to talk about, right? And apart from that, you mentioned about competition grid, right? So all those items will come into picture.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I got it.
Okay. So normally, whenever we set up the compensation review process, right?
Yeah.
This is mainly linked to
Did we cover bonus plan integration like eligibility, earnings override, and EIBs?
EIBs. I have already briefed you, right? In the last session, I think we talked about like how, and I told you to look into your system
And
as well.
also the bonus plans with scorecard. Did we complete that?
So scorecard will be discussing over this session or maybe next session. After that, you will automatically get right talking about how that normally gets linked with the stock plan.
And we haven't completed deferred compensation also. Deferred plans.
Which plan you said?
Deferred plans. You
Deferred
remember?
plan, yeah.
So that is also pending.
Yes.
Okay, let's get back to this. This is
Okay.
something like after the so this is something like when the employee got their rating during the time of the rating, whatever that is going to get changed. For example, if the manager is rating a person 5 and later
Mhm.
he wants to do a correction in the system after
Correct.
the rating is done, how am I going to do for him as an administrator,
Sorry,
right?
can you repeat it again?
So if this is something like a manager going to rate a person
Mhm.
on their performance,
Mhm.
and later he wants to implement some changes, so as a
Later
compensation
on, you
of
want to implement some.
changes in his
Mhm.
rating, or
Mhm.
he wants to adjust his rating
You are talking about employee from employee perspective or from the manager perspective?
from the manager perspective.
Okay.
Okay, is I'm just asking, is this session is all about the compensation review process is after the post rating period, in case of any changes or corrections to be made by the manager.
Mhm.
Okay, usually they reach out to us because they cannot do it. The system gets frozen, and it is me as a compensation manager. I'll be doing the adjustments on their behalf, like a system administrator. At the same time, I will also able to correct if any manager did something like, for example, they have rated exceptional performer, but they have just given them only 2% of increment, which is
Mhm.
unusual. So I make the corrections as an override, right, in the system.
Mhm.
So this is all the process about that I'm going to learn, like how I'm going to do
Yes.
those.
So normally what I will do is, first of all, I will brief you about the compensation review process, how things work, right? After that, normally in competition, we discuss about a response to crisis, right? Like
Okay.
the scenarios that you are mentioning about, right?
Okay. I
Uh,
have a small request.
mhm.
Okay. I just saw the previous videos. Okay.
So talking about when we initiate the compensation review process, right?
Yes.
So this process is linked with the business process. The business process name also remains same. Like for example, initiate compensation review process. I will try to initiate in this, right? But not sure as this is a practice tenant. I will try to initiate for some group of people and I will try to show you like how things works. So this is the default definition for the compensation review process that I have opened. If you look into the steps, right? Normally, if you want to know like who all can start the review process. So normally when you expand the security group, whichever security group will be assigned over here, and with respect to all the security groups, whichever employees will be linked, they will be only able to initiate the review process. Like for example, here we have the compensation admin, okay, people data administrator, So this group of
So
people
the
will be
entire comp ban and PNO team will be administrating it.
correct.
So
So
step
normally, as this is a practice
restricted.
tenant, so one second, as this is a practice tenant, so maybe some unwanted security groups you can see. But talking about in an ideal scenario, it will be mainly the competition admin, or maybe from the HR operations admin, something like that. Okay. Yeah, you
Okay.
were asking something.
So in case that is like people who are initiating the process. So we are the process owner,
Mhm,
and we are going to enable the process through our managers who will be rating.
mhm.
Okay. So what is the step routing restricted access about? Can you please help me explaining that?
So see, talking about you are asking like you are saying like this will be initiated by the managers.
No, 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 no. I am very aware that this is initiated by HR team.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just an initiator,
Mhm.
but running the torch is by the manager.
Correct.
So where will they be included in this business process definition? That's my question.
So it's completely up to you or your management, right? Wherever they want to get them included, they can include it. There is no such restrictions.
Okay, I have a question. So
Mhm.
just because I'm an initiator, so I'm a HR, you're a manager, you're going to rate for your team. Let's keep the
Mhm.
scenario that way. So I'm an initiator and this is my business process I have defined, and I have not included you in any of the business process above. Can you please scroll
Mhm.
up? I meant to say I have not included in the initiating security groups or the step routing restricted security groups.
Mhm.
Okay. But as a manager, will you still be able to access and rate your employees using this process?
No, if you are not included, how the manager will be able to do that? It's not possible, right?
I am confused. My question is, as a manager, you will be rating the employee with a performance rating.
Correct.
You will be if you're having three
So
reports
see,
for
one
three
second. You are
reports, you're
talking about performance
let me
rating.
ask my question.
One
So
second.
yeah,
You are talking about performance rating, right?
yes.
Performance rating works with another business process.
Okay, that's my question. Okay.
Let me show you that. I understood like what routing restriction you are talking about.
That's what was questioned by me because I am not. I'm as an admin problem. I got to understand like this is my admin process, but I wanted to see how you will be able to see as a manager.
Okay,
I want
let me show
to
you.
role play here.
Is there any? Okay.
You got my
We're
question?
talking about the performance review, right? So
Yes.
normally performance review, again, it's completely up to us, like how we want to set it up. Okay. If you can see here, right, someone will be initiating, right? After that, get additional manager evaluation, complete
Like yeah, exactly.
evaluation, get additional reviewers, complete manager evaluation. So this is not the standard process. I will tell you like now how normally it works in company. So normally once the performance review get initiated, right? After that, it goes to the worker,
Yeah,
employee,
self
employee as
evaluation.
self for completing the self-evaluation. Once
Yes,
that is completed, after that, it goes to the complete manager evaluation to the manager.
absolutely.
Okay.
And
After
later,
the after the manager, in some companies, what they do is it goes to the manager's manager as well
yeah, like the skip
for
manager.
the approval process. Okay.
Absolutely.
So normally you will not see again here. There is another VP interlinked named as complete manager evaluation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see this complete manager evaluation for performance review?
Yes.
Someone has made so many changes. Let's I'm just opening you for a random. So here they have hard stop at the manager level. Okay. If in case I want to add an approval step, like once the manager has given the grading, right? It should go to an approval to the manager's manager. I can add a step here.
Okay.
Okay. As an approval,
Yeah,
I can assign it to manager's manager. Like normally how we do that is I will edit this process. Talking about the business process changes, it is effective as of real time. You cannot make any changes in the past. Okay.
Okay.
That's the limitation with respect to business process.
Yeah, you told me like you cannot, you have rescind and cancel,
Yeah.
not delete.
Approval, I can set it up here as managers. Okay. So here I cannot see that security group. Reason being,
This is about practice in it.
no, because we have to give. Let me show you. I might not have access, but I can show you like why it is not reflecting here and how it can reflect. So normally you have to make changes to the security policies. Right now, within this process, manager's manager does not have access for approval.
Okay.
Okay. So normally what we do is we go to the related actions of the business process. Here we have business process policy. Here only have view option. Normally, if you will have the security access, here at the below, there will be an edit action. Okay.
Okay.
Normally here you can see there are multiple options. Who can start the business process? Like
Okay.
complete manager evaluation. So like this people will be only able to complete the manager evaluation. I'm talking about approval, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you scroll down here in the approve section, you can see only those two security groups are there. That's why when I am trying to add up the approval, only these two security groups are coming. Jam
Okay.
Tesla manager and manager, right?
Mm.
There's two. In the approve section, I have to add here manager's manager,
Yeah.
security group. Okay. Once I add that, it will reflect here and I can add it over here. After that, my approval step will go to the manager's manager.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
So talking about performance review perspective, mainly it goes to the employee. After employee, it goes to the manager. After manager, it goes to the manager's manager. After that, normally in companies, they have a to-do step wherein there is a one-on-one meeting that is supposed to be set up by the manager with the employee. Okay.
Agreed.
This is
I
how
have
we.
another question.
Mhm.
So, in many companies, they will not have every performance process linked. They will be having their performance management. For example, in my company, they have something called Leapsum to track their performance and track their evaluations
What
and
did
all.
you say? What they have?
Leapsum. Leapsum is a tool to do this performance reviews and everything.
Mhm.
So if you're a manager, you will just set my OKRs and at the start of the quarter, and you will be reviewing, and you can give me any notes or any additional thing. It gets tracked, okay, in the Leapsum for me right from the Jan till December what I've been doing. So it is just like a clear thing. And in Germany, we have something called probation.
Mhm.
Okay, irrespective of the experience you have, right? If you join a company, the first 6 months will be a probation, and if you didn't pass, you will be sent out. Okay, that is by default. Any particular any umpty number of jobs you skip, your first 6 months is a probationary period.
Mhm.
So even the probationary for the first 6 months, the probationary track, and
Mhm.
we will do something called a 360 evaluation, not just by the manager but from the employees colleagues and employees close sparring partners who the employee works with. They also assess whether this person is fit or not.
Mhm.
Okay, in such case, Leapsum is one of the very frequently used tool in Germany, just
Mhm.
to gauge the employee's performance in every random situations and every quarter or every weekly or every monthly based on the frequency. Okay, and my question is, can it be interlinked just like how I do the share works with thing? If I interlink the API tool with Workday, will Workday able to pull out the data from Leapsum directly?
Yes, if you are able to do the integration part through the API, it should be able to do that.
That I need to seek the Workday administrator support, right? I will not be able to do that by my own, but my
Correct.
integration team will be able to do it for
So
me.
mainly in this scenario, your integration team can help.
Okay.
Okay. So normally what mainly integration does is like whatever outputs from the third party tool that you want in Workday, right? There are
Yeah.
fields that is set up or built in within Workday, And that's where those fields will come through the API integration that they set up.
Okay.
Because maybe normally what happens is like in the third party they may have different nomenclature, or they may have different fields, right? With different field names. In Workday, there might not be the same field names, it will be something else. So they link
Absolutely.
it, okay, so that we can have the desired ones.
So the collective additional question is, okay, in certain cases, we will not be able to, we are not ready for integrating the two API, that is the Leapsome API with Workday.
Mhm.
Instead, we wanted to download the data from the Leapsome and export and import the data in Workday through the EIB module. Okay, like an inbound, like an outbound EIB. Okay, where we wanted to do, or more like an, I will say like that is an inbound EIB. That's what you taught me, right? So if I wanted to pull down the report from Leapsome and upload it in Workday, that's an
Yeah,
inbound
so yeah,
EIB.
you will
So I will use.
yeah,
Okay, okay, got it.
okay. So normally, see, this is something which for this scenario, I would say it's better to set up the integration part, right? Because doing it manually from the perspective that you are saying, right, it will be a bit lengthy and difficult, right? And this is something which you will wish to have on a frequently basis, or on a annual basis, or on a maybe quarterly basis.
Absolutely, because every probation,
Mm.
because 6 months process is like every new joinee joins the company. It
Mhm.
is like a repeated annual process for me. Okay,
Mhm.
and after all 6 months, not everybody gets an annual revision.
Correct.
So this is something more like an HRBP process to gauge whether the person is performing or not. I'm not
Mhm.
coming there. But my area of work comes when the employee is given a raise within 6 months, right? I need to be, I need that to be recorded. So in Leapsum, not just the performance is getting gauged, okay? There is also a section called compensation.
Mhm.
So based on your merit, just like how we do merit metrics, right?
Yes.
For example, if you are rated 3%, the system will calibrate it to the 3% of merit increase,
Mhm.
right? Just like a random example. Similarly, it does in Leapsum also. Based on your performance, the system itself auto converts within the performance range with this particular rating, how much the merit you should be getting when we calibrate the fields already. Okay, and
Mhm.
it auto calibrates it by default when we just add it, and it also auto defaultly corrects and rates the rating out of 7 where the employee lies in their performance, and give the compensation calibration like that. So in such case, integration will not be helpful. At the same time, I have to use this inbound EIB. So I'm asking like how we are going to do such a rating thing, because my find should be three things. Why this person was given a range of increase within this particular frequency time, or within this particular tenure, and
Mhm.
what was the last, during the frequency of the tenure, what was the percentage of increase he was given. So where does his current compa ratio lies, and what is his current skill set. So you remember we do a pricing for hot jobs in
Pricing.
market pricing. In market pricing, we all,
Mhm.
there is a term called pricing hot jobs.
Correct.
Hot jobs is like in this particular annual, based on the salary survey report by that we receive for our organization at the start of the year, right?
Mhm.
By party like Aon or Willis Towers Watson or Mercer, we will be notified like, hey, these guys are your hot jobs.
Mhm.
And also we internally take our attrition manual saying like how many skill sets, how many people at a particular skill or particular job position has resigned. Based on that, we calibrate it and we do revision in the salary pricing, like market pricing for those particular jobs alone. We don't run job pricing for everybody every annually.
Mhm.
That is something we do. So in such cases, Sonal, how we are going to make it more like automated in Workday. That's also I wanted to.
Okay. Let me first of all brief you about the rating that you mentioned about with respect to the inbound one, right? Can you see
Okay.
my screen?
Yes, I can see your
So
screen.
this is the EIB that you have, right, for updating the employee review rating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. from the third party tool, whatever you have. If you want to do it manually, you have to get this field, right? Like this is the spreadsheet key is nothing but the serial number, update, employee review ID, right?
Employee
So,
ID. That's an employee
so
ID, right?
no, this is employee review ID. So for every employee, if you go and if normally if you want to check, for example, reference ID. Employee review. So you will get a employee review ID, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you can see for all the different workers, right? There are total 2833 workers as of now that I can see, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you will get this reference ID value, right? For here, what they have done is there is no such reference ID value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look into the integration ID. So you will give the reference ID, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Integration ID.
Mm-hmm.
You have this WID, okay? And
Okay.
the EIP, you have this option, all right? You can choose it from here, employee review ID or WID, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So you can use this ID for the respective workers. You can export this in the Excel and you can segregate in it in whichever way you want, and you can get this added over here.
Okay.
Okay. After that, again, this is text is something optional. Review rating ID, like whatever rating you're gonna provide, right? For
Mm.
all rating, there will be different IDs. Like for average performance, there will be different ID. So right, likewise, there will be different IDs. Okay. Again, you can search that again with the same view ref ID options.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, always search with reference ID. If in case you are not able to find, because around 70-80% things are available within the reference ID itself. If in case that is not available there, then you can go with the integration IDs.
Okay. Okay. So the business object will be the, for example, if it's 2006 performance review is the template,
Mhm.
it's a nomenclature that we are using, right?
Mhm.
We will search with the instance with the same, like
Yes,
2006, and it'll along with that it'll also end with the employee's name at the end
correct.
by default. So for example, 2006 performance appraisal is your nomenclature for your template,
Mhm.
right? So you
Yes,
when you type, it will pull out everybody who are eligible for the 2006 performance review by default by the system,
correct.
and it will also pop up the reference IDs and the reference ID values and the workday IDs.
Yes. So you will always go with the ID values, right? Like for example, unsatisfactory, it is this. For needs improvement, it is this. So you have an option, you can change this ID for your convenience as well, right? Edit ref
So
ID,
why
right?
it is all, for example, for unsatisfactory, it's unsatisfactory, but other things it is 672.5. Why it
So
is not?
it's so we have an option, right? Normally when I do, right, what I do is I edit the reference ID,
Okay.
and I will tell you like how normally I do,
Mm-hmm.
because that is easy and easier to fill in the EIB that we have.
Okay. Okay.
Edit reference ID.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to always keep in mind about one thing. The first one is a version 39.2. So normally what we do is, like for example, it's satisfactory, right? I will make the reference ID as satisfactory only. Okay. If
Okay.
it's right, but we have to make sure it's case sensitive, right?
Yes.
So it should be same as it is, whatever we are copying. Okay.
Okay.
Some of the item are case sensitive, some of are not. But again, it's better to keep in mind about one thing, assuming we are using the same way, whatever is available in reference IDs.
Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, if satisfactory, if the S starts with a cap, it should be a
Mhm.
cap.
Right.
Okay.
Or else what will happen is when you are going to load it, right, it will
Mm-hmm.
give you an error.
Okay. So, what is the position where we can do it without a case sensitive?
Like in EIB, there will be multiple options, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like for example, comment section. So the optional, the ones that we have, right? That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay. And specifically, if I talk about the IDs, right,
Mm-hmm.
it's always good to have it or treat them as a case sensitive. And apart from that, there is one more thing that to keep in mind with respect to EIBs is we use different formulas, right, for
Okay.
getting the data populated in the EIB. So we have to make sure like those formulas are not available there. We should, after we populate the data, we should delete the formula that we have used for that. Okay, or else it will give us an error when we are going to load it into the system. Okay.
Okay. For example, you meant to say if I'm doing a
I did some right or anything,
oh,
right? Or
okay.
I tried, I merged couple of datas and got
My
the
question
third
here
data.
is this is the data that we pull out from Workday and put it in a template, right?
Yes.
Then why would there be a formula incorporated when I'm pulling the
I'm
data?
giving you a multiple scenarios. In multiple scenarios, what happens is, I'm not talking about this one, right? I'm giving you an overall idea about the EIBs. Normally, what happens in EIB is, let's take an example. I have a,
Oh,
because
you
you
meant
will
to
not,
say if I'm maintaining a separate Excel which is not
yes,
uploaded in Workday. Okay.
correct,
In such case, I will be having some formulas. For example, if I'm doing a merit rating, I have a comparison formula in that.
correct,
I have to remove the formula and upload it. Otherwise, the system will put it as an error. It will put as
yes,
okay,
yes.
got it. Got it.
Okay. So that is a few things. And apart from that, whenever you get an error, right, now you have access to Workday community, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can search for the respect, you can just copy paste those error in the Workday community and it will give you the remedy, like what exactly is supposed to be done by you or what mistake you are doing. So accordingly, you can update it and get the error sorted.
It would be great if you have something like you have maintained like an Excel or something. Like what are the prompt that I can use on Workday community, so I can just use
So
those prompts
see,
handy.
related to that, because Workday community similarly the way we use Google for getting our queries answered, right? One
Okay.
easiest way is if you have any specific error, just copy paste that in the Workday community, it will give you. Otherwise, let's take an example. You have some scenarios, right? So whenever you are having any scenarios and you want to search it, like let's take an example. Uh,
For example, if I'm using Google Sheets, right? For
hmm,
Google Sheets, there will be multiple functions apart from Excel functions,
hmm,
right? So Excel, what Google Sheet does is it defaultly gives us a prompt sheet, like
hmm,
all the functions available in Google Sheet, and it will give you a scenario like on what basis you can use a sum or sum if, okay, and it has a
hmm,
ready-made help history. So when I go back to that, I say like, okay, fine, I get details of all the Excel functions, that is Google Sheet functions that I can apply as a
hmm.
formula. Likewise, does the Workday community also have such PDF kind of document where I can go as a ready repository for dust instead of going only?
Actually, there are some, right? Like if you talk about calculated fields, right? Or if you talk about related to respective VIBs, there are some, but it's not that conveniently available, like the way you are referring, right? Because
Yeah.
talking about the content, there are so much of content that is available in Workday community. And one of the most challenging part with Workday community is, right, the way we search. So always do one thing slowly and gradually. Once you start using community, you will have a better idea. Try to understand, like, if in case anyone,
Mm.
oth- any other consultant or anyone like you who might have come across similar issue, what or in which way he might have written the query or subject line. You should always think from that perspective, because it always search from the subject line perspective. Okay.
Okay, it's typical like how we do it in ChatGPT. When we do a
Correct.
lot of prompting, we get the exact answer because
Correct.
ChatGPT doesn't give an amazing answer when we just put a normal prompt. But we
Right.
put the exact prompt of what we require with the requirement, it gives you a history of it.
Correct.
Okay, similar works on the Workday. Okay,
Yeah. So normally you can review, right? Like there are, talking about Workday community, almost not everything, but related to issues or anything, 80 to 90% things are available there. If in case there is anything, any new feature or anything that is coming up, that is also available.
do we
Okay.
have a Workday? Do we have a Workday community Slack option also, like a Slack channel? We don't have a Slack channel.
No, we do not have it.
Okay.
Okay. And talking about Workday community, the other part is whether you are whether you're having the Workday community access because of uh, as a pro user or as a Workday partner user. You have one option. You can post your queries. Okay. And mostly around 80 to 90% chances are there that you'll get some response. In some
Okay.
scenarios, you will not get, but in most of the scenarios, you will have your response. Okay.
Okay.
Related to any issues or any help that you need with respect to Workday.
Okay, because I haven't explored that really well.
Yeah.
And
So
maybe as I
that,
said, when I go
because see,
back,
as you have the Workday community access, right? That is something which you can explore and dig in. So you will have a better idea, because in Workday, mainly what happens is many of them get stuck, right? Because there are so many things that comes up and the features and everything, right? So normally we do the same thing, right? We got stuck anywhere. We try to search in the Workday community first. If in case that is available, we take that as a reference and we work on it accordingly. If in case something that is not available, in that scenario, normally what we do is we post our queries. Okay. And
okay,
maybe we also have an option, right? If in case, like, mainly we respond so many queries, like there are so many queries that comes into picture, right? So we respond to them. So if in case my answer is most accurate, or right, we get points as well. Okay. So there are
oh,
so many pro users, right? I forgot the name, what they are called, right?
mhm,
Who are pretty much frequent, right? And in some scenarios, what happens if in case any normal consultant is not responding, right?
mhm.
Workday employees, right, who are already working on those specific modules, they respond in some scenarios.
Oh,
Okay.
that's amazing. Okay.
Because they have some point system that they have set up for their internal employees and for external employees as well. And that is a good way for marketing their profile. Like if in case I'm having good points, like around.
Yeah, I have that option in my company also when usually we don't involve the support team.
Mhm.
Instead of having a support team's cost, we put it on the developer itself. We call it
Yeah.
as like, we call it as, oh my God, the firefighters.
Mhm.
So they will do the firefighting during the production downtime, and the person who develops the product, they themselves will answer rather getting into a support team and waiting for the support team to answer. I got it. It's more like a firefighting club. Okay.
Yes. Okay. And just one more thing. Whenever you load the EIB, right? I'm not sure whether I briefed you last time or not.
The thing is, like, you went back to that data, right? I just want, this is what you wanted to, that is the EIB tracker, right? You have not completed the employee performance review rating.
Mhm.
This is the employee performance review rating, right? What you wanted to teach me today.
Yeah. So no, so we came back to this, right? That's the reason you asked me about the performance rating thing, right? That's why I came back to
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Okay. So mainly talking about this compensation review process, right? So you can see here there are different stages, right? That is set up here. Like first of all, you can see all these tasks being diverted to compensation admin because he will be the one actually who will be taking the
Get
you
this.
know the entire process, okay, related to performance review. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
So it's up to company. Like in some companies, if in case it's a very big company, normally they have a separate compensation admin. In some scenarios, HR person takes care, right? So it depends. If in case it's a HR person, there will be some respected security groups which should be set up. Okay, like for example, there are multiple different steps, right? Like manage impacted employees, configure pools, distribute pools, launch employee compensation review award, complete employee awards, release compensation review statement. So these are the standardized step within the initiate compensation review process. Okay, but
Okay.
talking about how this will run, okay, what content is going to be available within the performance review, that is something which is decided or defined within the compensation initiate compensation
Review. Okay.
review process. So first
Okay.
of all, before getting into the compensation review process, right, we have to define the compensation review template.
Okay.
Okay, like for example, let's discuss about merit.
Okay. This is something the it is like the 2024 merit process kind of thing. That's
Correct.
like the
Like
merit
what
process
all
is,
you,
is
yeah,
nothing but
what
a
all,
picture of the
correct.
team.
Yes. Okay. So talking about here, so you will have an option, right? Like what are mainly you want to see during the compensation review process thoroughly. Okay. Like for example,
Okay.
they have defined this as a named as a merit global support. Like for global support, this is the merit a template that they are defined. Like the template kicks off on a consolidated. It consists of all this for all the employees within the global support. Okay. So this is template is not specific for all the employees. This is for only those employees who belongs to the organization or belongs to the global support supervisory organization.
Okay.
Okay.
So, for example, I can do like merit India or merit Germany, and it'll pull out the data only for that particular country's employees.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. If in case within this merit process, if you want to include lump sum, you have to mention it as yes. Include additional adjustment, yes. Include promotions, yes. So if you want to exclude anything, you have to highlight here, right? If in case you do not want to include lump sum here, you will mention it as no. So that will not come into picture when the compensation review process is running. If in case you do not want to, or you like, let's take an example for this year, there is no promotion like that is
Okay.
going on. So we can
Mention.
mention this as no, so there will be no promotion that will be coming into picture.
Okay.
Okay. After that, here we have process name, right? Like if in case there is a specific process name that we have to or that we want to define here, we can mention it. Okay. After that, effective date, like since when this is effective. Okay. Talking about the template that we have, right? Since when this is going to be effective. Okay. Talking about process period ended. So talking about this entire process that we are talking about, compensation review process, right? Like when that is going to end. So they are ending it on 11/30/2020. Okay.
Okay.
And talking about this organization snapshot. Okay.
Okay.
What is the meaning of this? So this is again a date. Okay. Which
Mm-hmm.
at the organization level, what is the date that I want to mention, or the this is nothing but again the effective date. Okay.
Okay.
Talking about employee visibility date. So whatever is going on or whatever is happening with respect to the compensation review process, right? From when the employee should be able to see that. So normally this is something which is at a
At the
later
end,
date.
yeah, at like in a later date. Yes.
Okay. Currency rate type. If in case there is any currency rate type that we have, right, we can define that. Okay.
Okay.
Reference currency. Okay.
Okay.
Similarly, we have here grid configuration, grid profile configuration. This is something which we will discuss in tomorrow's session, like how this is set up. Okay.
Okay. I have a question here.
Let me get into one thing, right? Rather than, yeah, tell me.
So in this compensation review template, right, while you set up, we are having, for example, based on a balance scorecard and individual country performances, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes the merit rating percentage also varies. Okay, so while you put the currency rate type, I also want to put wants the system to default pull only 3% of merit max for India. Okay, and for example, 5% merit max for Germany. The system needs to pull that particular plans. How it will do?
I didn't get it. Can you repeat it again?
For example, my company is having five locations, five different
Mhm.
locations with five different currencies. Okay, based on the individual countries' production value and based on the individual countries' target achievement. Okay, there is a
Mhm.
particular budget. For example,
Mhm.
in India, the target achievement was underachieved,
Mhm.
or our Germany, the target achievement is overachieved. Okay,
Mhm.
based on the country wise, there will be merit budget. What to say, merit percentage allocation. Okay, in most of the larger companies, they do that. So, how you will tell the workday to pull out such plan details? For example, I'm saying like the maximum merit percentage for India is 3%. Okay, or an average merit percentage is 3% by default. Okay, and for German employees, the average merit percentage is 5%.
Okay.
Okay, how we are going to pull that plan
See,
details?
normally how this happens is like talking about if you have this for five different locations within a country or maybe outside the country, like five countries. Okay.
Yeah.
So talking about the template that we define or design, right? This is separate for everyone.
Okay, you wanted to say like if I'm creating one
Yes.
initiation plan, just like how I said, like supervisory organization, I have
Correct.
to for Germany, India, everything with that
Mhm.
particular individual performance rating. So the system will put the each,
Yes.
and each of the thing will function as the individual business process itself.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Everything will work in as per the same process, but talking about the timeline and the plans that you are referring about, right? It will be different in different countries. We
So
never miss, we never mix all the countries, or wherein we want to segregate anything, we do not mix them. If in case there is no segregation, then we will keep each and everything in one plate, or else we will have a separate plates for every item.
okay, okay. Now I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
So grid configuration and grid profile configuration will take time. So we will continue on this tomorrow.
okay.
Okay.
So
And talking about one more thing, right? We how this performance review part that you were referring, right?
mhm.
Like let's take an example. There are performance review template, right? Annual performance, like normally here we are talking about compensation review process, right? So how we are going to give the compensation part with respect to the
And
performance that has been done by the respective worker. Okay.
yeah.
So normally this is how, or this is where it gets linked. Okay, at the stage of compensation review template.
Okay.
Okay, so we can define the template, we can define the rating scale, whatever the rating scale that we have set up over here. There might be a scenario like for different countries, they have different rating scale as well, right?
Okay.
So whatever options we have, we set it up accordingly.
Okay.
Okay, exceptions rules. If in case I want to exclude, okay, let's
Mhm.
take an example. You are talking about India, right? And you want to exclude some group of people,
Okay.
okay, with respect to either promotions or wherein you want to override or anything. Wherever you have exceptions, like normally what happens is you might have already seen multiple such scenarios, right? Whenever we are running the compensation review process, right? Let's take an example for one specific organization, right? So normally in
Mhm.
that scenario, there are so many exceptions that comes into picture. Wherein in some places we do the overrides, right? So each and everything comes into picture with respect to the eligibility rule. So here you have to define the eligibility rule, like which group of people, right, you want to allow the override. Okay.
So, for example, if the compensation review process is for Netherlands and
Hmm.
it is only for a supervisory organization like finance department,
Hmm.
okay, here the eligibility rule. So, I'm creating the process itself only for the finance team, and also that is also only for the Germany kind of thing.
Hmm.
Okay, and that is my templates nomenclature also.
Hmm.
And here my eligibility rule will be the job position and also the reason, right?
Hmm.
I'm
No,
asking.
no. So see, this, let's take an example. You mentioned about this compensation review process is only specific to Germany, only for finance domain. Okay.
Yes.
So I will use that respective organization at the initial stage. Okay, like this for this organization, it is going to within that organization, I might have some group of workers, right? Wherein I want to do
By
some
the job
overrides
level.
with respect to merit, some override with respect to promotion, override with respect to lump sum, right? Override with respect to bonus plan or stock plan or any other plan. Okay. So therein we can set up. I might have only one worker. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll create an eligibility for that one worker. Okay. Creating eligibility for one worker is nothing but you can just mention employee name or employee ID. You can mention the employee ID. Okay. And for that specific worker, whatever you want to have as an override, you can set it up.
Okay.
Okay.
So like you have, let's say like technology team. I'm
Mhm.
going to have 3,000 employees only in technology.
Mhm.
So in technology, say like there can be, say like there can be a technical specialist, there can be a QA analyst, and there can be a full stack developer, senior engineer, and principal engineer, staff engineer. There can be different positions. So in such cases, I will. Can you just scroll towards your right? Sorry, towards your left. I'm sorry. Yeah. So in such case, let's say technology as a department, and if you scroll up a little bit above, because I just wanted to understand if I'm getting it right. A little bit above, please, just to the start. Yeah. So the process name itself, I will create a name itself, like it is like a merit increase process, and this is for technology team, and this is for Germany, and this is can be my name under the
Mhm.
name star. It is highlighted as red, right? Yes. In that, I'm putting the nomenclature and I'm defining my process name, effective date, everything. Can you please scroll down a little bit? So now it's a technology. By each of the job, as you said rightly, it can be by the job levels in the eligibility rule section. Can you just scroll down a little bit, finally down? So in the exceptions rule, I will just say like filter only. For example, we decided not to do any promotion for managers alone in technology,
Mhm.
right? And the rest of the job levels will be getting the promotion except managers and above, or the
Mhm.
rest of the managers. For example, the technology team is underdoing, and the management team, the management board has decided not to give any promotion or increases for manager level and above, and anybody below that alone will be getting the rating, the merit increase. In such case, the exception by rule, in that case, I will just add the eligibility rule by job position,
Correct.
and reason can be by rating, and adjustment override by the what you'll put for the additional adjustment override. Say like compa ratio or
There is
the
one more thing. There is one more thing that you can do. So the one
okay.
that I'm talking about, right? We have like in Workday, we have multiple ways of doing same thing. So either
Okay.
you can do that, or at the initial stage only you can define like this process template is specific to this group of people. At the eligibility criteria only you can do that. Okay. First
Okay.
thing. Normally, this override or exception by rule you can use in another scenario as well. Let's take an example. You have a worker, right,
Oh,
who is a part of this compensation review process, but I want to override his promotion date or his lump sum amount few months back or a few months after, right?
oh, like an off cycle increase.
Yes. So that is also you have an option. You can mention the effective date here. You can define the reason. Okay. So this will work accordingly. Let's take an example.
Okay,
This will
I wanted like a realistic scenario. I'm not going to do it for one worker.
Mhm,
Okay, because in my organization we group it. We work as a cluster form.
mhm,
Okay, so there is never a one worker.
mhm.
One worker is a very rare scenario for me. So
Yeah.
it is always limited to 10 members. So example, if you are putting, for example, in larger organization, if they are doing an off cycle promotion, right, like you said, like an ideal example, we will not do in individual cases.
Mhm,
Okay. So we will collect the list of employees for whom the management and the supervisory organization has decided, like not to give him and override his promotion, and from the effective date, say like effective from 1st of October, they will be getting the promotion. However, the merit increase is happening in August.
mhm,
Okay. So they won't be getting similar increases like other employees in the month of August.
mhm.
Okay, only the minimum of merit increase they might be getting. The rest of, for
Mhm,
example, we are deciding like giving them 20 percentage of promotion
mhm,
increase. In such, first 5% is given as a merit along with everybody.
mhm.
Okay, and the rest 15 should be given as an off cycle. So how I'm going to do here, because that is the very realistic scenario what I'm doing
Off cycle is talking about that is in the past or in the future?
in the future.
In the future.
Let's take two scenarios, in the past and in the future. Let's write it that way.
So if in case that is something in the past, you can use this rule. That will be the best. Okay.
Okay.
But if in case you have something in the future, it's better not to include them. Okay. For them, you can do an ad hoc. Okay. Wherein for those group of people, you can normally I have already shown you, right? Like you can go to the job change and you can do the promotion part.
Okay,
Okay.
I have a question.
Or
I'm
in
asking you.
case if it is related to any lump sum or anything, we have that option. So normally I'm telling you for the best practice purpose, that is something which we use.
I'm still confused. Let me
Let me rebrief you.
okay.
Okay. You asked me about there are two scenarios. One is in the past, one is in the future. Okay.
Yes.
Talking about for the past related scenarios. Okay. You can mention the past date from when you want to consider them. You
Can
can
you
mention.
just type an example in this itself?
Take an example.
Give me why I'm asking you to type here, because I can remember. If it is
Worker
blank,
is manager. Let me search on the word manager. Let's talk about competition manager. Okay. I want to, like, for example, as of now, okay, here the dates that we have, it's in the past. Okay. Let me consider them like let me talk about I wanted to give this worker promotion, not as of the competition review process, whatever date I have defined. I want to give him as of August 1st only, from August 1st only.
hmm,
Okay.
that's a realistic date.
Yes. I
This is
can give some
scenario.
reasons like increase in responsibility, like what is the reason why we are giving it, like let's take an example of promotion. Okay. And I do not want to give him any other changes. If in case with respect to this promotion any bonus is coming into picture that I want to give him as of this effective date or any other effective date, I can select a bonus or any lump sum amount. If in case only this is the scenario, I can keep that as it is. That's it, nothing else.
If there is a promotion, there is obviously a job position change,
Mhm.
and obviously there can be a bonus change by default.
Yes. So normally what happens is talking about this competition and review process, right? Once this gets initiated, talking about the we have another business process that they're in picture. Okay. Like talking about like normally we can have that as well. So competition change business process we have, right? So normally those business process can also come into picture if in case we want that. If in case we do not want that, we can exclude that. Okay.
Okay, now you're doing it in a futuristic date, in a
So
scenario.
let's take an example of future date. So normally it's better for future date if I want to do.
Mhm.
Let's take an example. There is a worker job.
Can we do an example with a bulk scenario? Because as I said before, the
So
include
if you want to do this for a bulk, okay, and at the later stage, normally we use an AI. Or else you have another option talking about this compensation review process that we are doing it, right? We can create like this is a varied global support, right? We can create another one, okay,
okay,
wherein we can include all those specific group of workers for whom I want to do, and I can initiate it. In similar way, I'm doing for other group of workers for a
okay, just
different.
like how you do the structural increase or deferred comp plans, we can also do the separate compensation review template for them with
Correct,
adjusted merit percentages.
correct.
What is the target percentages? Okay,
Yes. Okay. But
okay,
it depends upon like what is the number of workers that is going to be there. If in case it's in single digit, it's normally preferred or done in manual way.
okay.
Okay. Like all the managers can go ahead and they can do it through the manual process that is available. Like,
I'm not supporting the manual process here because currently, why I'm just circling back is my company is looking for all the things in Workday to be automated process.
mhm.
Everything has a nomenclature template. For example, if I'm running a compensation review
So
process, the review.
let me ask a scenario. Okay. So for auto, so see, talking about let's exclude the compensation review process. Okay. So what I have seen is like there are some scenarios wherein they do it separately, wherein they follow the same process. Like normally, what happens is let's take an example of company wherein they do the compensation increase or they go through the entire compensation cycle once in a year. Okay. But there are some group of people, not one, maybe if in case the strength of the employees is around 20,000 or 30,000, in that scenario, there can be hundreds of workers for
Yes,
whom the promotion or something comes into picture during mid of the year. Or
yes.
in that scenario, what happens is the process that we are looking into, right, that is set up for that ad hoc cycle as well. Okay. So that because for hundreds of workers, we cannot do manually. Okay. If
You
out of the
have to
blue moon
create
for
ad hoc review process.
yes. So you
Okay.
can give it whatever name you want and we can create it. And for only those respective workers, the process will initiate and it will be followed for in a similar way like we do on an annual basis.
Exactly. Wonderful. And this is something I had. Okay. And after this, what you'll do? So the one as an exceptional rule, what you said is, if I have understood right, the
Hmm.
exceptional rule that you show in this particular screen down, right? If you scroll
Hmm.
down, that is really good. Classic example when you wanted to do for a past thing, past listed data,
Correct.
like something with a past date. Okay, but anything on futuristic, you suggest me to do a ad hoc creation for those
Hmm.
employees in a
Yes.
bulk.
Correct.
Okay, that's like more accessible.
Right.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
and after that, you will just, what is that something beneath?
It's accessible by users granted segment, like which all people can look into this. So this is with respect to that compensation segment security group. Like
So
normally
I can
we
also,
give
for example, the people who are approving it are the skip managers.
no. So talking
Oh,
about the content in this review template, right? Who all
okay,
can access and who all can look into the details. So normally it will be compensation admin or HR admin to whomsoever
that
we want to give the access.
okay,
Okay?
got it.
In tomorrow's session, we'll discuss in detail about the plans, configure how. So this plan sections we're talking about like what all plans we consider, right? But still, I'll brief you individually, right? Because this is the important one. After that, we have configure pools. Okay.
Okay. I'm going to practice on the stock plans today. Okay. I just
Okay.
got a question. So I might sound like a noob, or I would have genuinely forgotten. Forgive me for that. But I just wanted your quick suggestion. So if I'm doing a stock plan, yes, while I create a stock plan, I know how to create a stock plan, just like how you suggested. Now,
Mhm.
if I wanted to edit the existing stock plan, for example, you're an employee and I'm going to promote you to the next job position. Ideally, your
Mhm.
stock percentage should be increased.
Mhm.
Okay. In such case, I need to edit your stock plan. So I have to go back to the edit stock plan task and I can do that, right? It will not impact your recent data and your you'll it will still remain as a history of what happened in the past for you. At the same time, I can be able to edit in your stock existing stock plan itself, right?
So see, if you remember, right? So normally what you're trying to say is there is a stock plan,
Yeah.
uh, which is being associated or aligned to one of the worker. Okay.
Yes.
He is getting based on that. But what you're referring is there is some changes that you want to do within a stock plan, correct? For that specific worker.
Yeah.
And now you are asking is,
Have
can
edited,
I?
we have given a wrong stock plan also. We
Yeah.
have given more than what he is required or
Okay.
lesser than what he is committed for. In such case,
So
I want to
normally you will have an option to correct. You do not have you do not need to go and make changes to the stock plan that is already created. Okay. What you will do is you will go to the worker's profile and therein you will correct the stock plan. Okay. If you remember, right, if in case we have not hard coded it, like we have enabled the override option,
yes,
right?
yes.
In the override option, you have an option, right? You can make changes based on whatever you want. You can go above the limit that is defined or below the limit, whatever the target amount or whatever the target percentage is, right? So you are not supposed to make any changes in that stock plan. You will make changes at the employee level for that specific employee.
Okay.
And
Okay.
talking about, you said someone got assigned to the stock plan incorrectly. That will happen because of the eligibility rule. If in case there is a worker who is not eligible for that plan but still is getting eligible, so in that scenario, you can go to that stock plan and update the eligibility rule. That is something you can go ahead and you can do that.
Okay. For example, you're entitled for 200 sign-on bonus as a
Mhm.
RSUs. Okay. By default, I have given you only 150. I need to
Mhm.
do a correction of 200. Now
Mhm.
what?
So that's what I said you, right? Like let's take an example. Matthew. So
You
this is
can
the
go back,
worker.
I can go back to Raj Chauhan's profile and I can correct it there.
Correct.
It's
Correct.
okay.
Okay. Request compensation change. Can you see here?
Yeah.
Within the compensation change, you will get, in case that worker is already having, you can
Okay.
mention the effective date, choose the same effective date from when that worker got that plan. Okay. After that, you can select that plan. Okay. That plan will pop up here. I'm not
Okay.
sure if this worker is having any stock plan.
Okay.
If in case the worker will have the stock plan, right, it will appear here. Like for example, let's take an example allowance, right? If I want to make changes, I want to make it from 6% to 5% or 0% or 1%, right? I have an option here. So
Okay.
similarly, you can go to that specific stock plan. Let me
Mm-hmm.
see. He do not have a stock plan, right?
Okay. I
So
can.
normally, if you would have had the stock plan, you can go here and you can make the changes. Okay. No need to go and only in one scenario, you can go and update the stock plan. Let's take an example. By mistake, because
Mhm.
of incorrect eligibility rule, I also got eligible for this stock plan. So in that scenario, you will go and update the stock plan eligibility rule, and you will exclude me from that. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now I got it.